Yes. Times 4 critical hits. Oh, I'm sorry I didn't see you there. Hello, it's me, Jeff, the voice of Asher Heilig, welcoming you to our third episode of our Day 1 release drops. From here on out, we are going to be one episode per week, releasing on Wednesdays on all of your favorite podcast retrieval locations. So please like, subscribe on iTunes and your favorite listening platforms. If you could leave us a review, that would mean a lot to us, especially here at the very beginning. And please tell a friend, an enemy, a loved one, a neighbor, and a complete stranger. Listen as Sam, the benevolent GM, guides us along a warm journey towards fluffy bunnies and certain doom. Welcome to episode 3. Welcome to Pod Against the Machine.
Pod Against the Machine. Against the Machine.
Once again, I'm Sam, also known as Monkeys, Bears, and Robots, and I'll be your GM for the evening. Let's go around the table and remind everyone who all is playing.
Well, I did have the pleasure of rolling first at the beginning, and I'm therefore first for all 6 books of Iron Gods. I am Jeff, and I'm playing Asher Heilig, the blind gunslinger. The permanently blind gunslinger.
And about hip height and equally as blind is Brixby Redtail, played by me, Zach.
Hi, I'm Izzy. I'll be playing Kira, who is fully sighted, which makes her 68 to 54% more sighted than me. Izzy.
And I am Jero, and I am playing Grumpy Junk Fist, I believe was the name of the character.
Junk Punch.
Junk Punch. Yeah, no, I am playing Vargas, and he can also still see. So that's the one thing he has going for him after getting completely destroyed last week.
Well, for a little bit of a recap, last week you guys dove into the waters of the Weeping Pond and swam down into the caverns underneath through the rather smelly muck and dispatched some fire beetles quite easily with a crit and some massive damage, and found the dead body of Kara's friend Parda, and found another dead body that was in very bad shape, as it had been partly eaten by a horrible pink frog monster, which proceeded to blind half the party and nearly kill Vargas, and took Kara pretty close to unconsciousness too, before we had some last-second heroics where Vargas came back from unconsciousness and killed it with a junk punch, and thus the legend of Junk Punch was born. So now we find our party sitting in the cave under the Black Hill with very little healing in a half-flooded room with a mangled corpse, a bloated pink monster that they just put away, and 2 blind party members. It's wet and dark. It reeks of mold in here. All of you are soaking wet, covered in foul-smelling water, along with cuts and bruises that you're just starting to feel now that the action is over and the adrenaline is dying back. A couple hours ago, you didn't know any of the people that you were with, and you just almost died right next to them. You've already found the bodies of 2 people who did die. So I think, since you all decided to take a minute or an hour or so to chill and get your bearings and hope that your sight comes back, we're gonna check in and see what's going through everyone's heads. So let's start with Vargas this time.
Well, he is. I think he's a little shaken after getting almost murdered by this horrible monster, and he's not quite sure how much he touches. He's not quite sure how much he touches these other people. He's not quite sure how much he trusts these other people yet. He has seen some things that make him more comfortable around them. He saw Kira showing respect to someone who appears to have died in battle. He likes that. Brixby sharing his healing. So, and he saw that amazing shot on the beetle from Asher. So he's starting to get along with them more, but he's still a little reserved. And like I said, he's just also kind of a little bit worried. He's not exactly a young man anymore. He's not used to his current move set, and he's worried he might be a bit in over his head after what just happened.
All right. Why don't we kick it over to Asher? What's running through his head?
What is running through this blind gunslinger's head? Well, he hadn't been in the torch area for much more than a week. He had the benefit of seeing the torch before it went out. Not to humble brag over Vargas, but that's part of what attracted him there. He has traveled literally across Galarian, starting in the southern continent of Garund, making his way all the way here to about as north as you can get, and now he's blind. He had one good shot, apparently another shot he couldn't even see, and he's here with these strangers trying to do some good, trying to get a little coin in his pocket. And I mean, within an hour of his adventure starting, he is blind. So I think he's a little bit disappointed, but he doesn't seem angry or scared. I think he is most disappointed because he wants to see these things, not just experience them and hear them, and have to confirm with his friends, hey, did I get him? Is he up? So he's still maintaining a positive attitude, but internally he's not worried. He's just bummed that people need help. We don't know if Connor Bain's alive. And by the time they get dragged back out to town, have to wait a whole nother day to get his sight back and come back. I mean, that's might be one more day than some of these people have. He's eager to get back to work.
Okay. And before we move on to the next one, I forgot one thing I wanted to do. Can Vargas and Asher roll me perception checks?
Asher. So I guess it's a sound-based perception check?
It could be.
Might be. Scent-based.
We are starting the night off with a natural 1 on whatever that was supposed to be perceiving. So Vargas is probably going to notice less than the blind character.
I don't know. Let's give this Dice Envy Dice here a roll. Natural 13 with a +0 perception for a 13.
Right. So neither of you notice anything weird going on. Let's go over to Brixby. What's going on with our resident rat folks in his head?
Well, based off of the last episode, it's clear he's not having a great time. On a 1 to 10 scale of 0 freaking out miserably and 10 partying hard, he's a solid 2 to 3 right now. Within his normal work, he goes into dark caverns and explores, spelunks with groups of sellswords, mercenaries relatively frequently. So he's a little unsettled that he's with a group of people that he doesn't particularly trust, but that's not necessarily getting to him. There was just a definitive panic that sort of set in when he initially lost his ability to see inside of here. And he's been relatively unsettled since they first found Partagar's body. So, yeah, I mean, right now, I believe at the end of the last episode, I said that Brixby was going to sit up against the wall. And he's doing just that with his head sort of down, holding his necklace really tight. And not hyperventilating or anything, but just sort of seeming to breathe deeply and calm himself. So almost the opposite. But yeah, not having a good ass time right now, I would say, is a good way to sum up how Brix is doing.
All right, and you want to give me a perception check as well?
Yeah. Well, true to form, that is 3 on the die, and so I don't know how that would intersect with my normal 7 perception. So that's a 10 without any,
Okay, so it's 10 for sound, and then a 0, I think, or you automatically fail sight-based perception while playing.
Well, it looks like I'm automatically failing this one too.
And one more. Let's see, how's Kara feeling in this time under the mountain?
Sure. Let's see. I would say, conversely to most of the other characters, she is very much inclined to trust people. I think she just likes to give people the benefit of the doubt. She loves meeting new friends. She's very down for the idea of an adventure. And that persisted for most of the last couple episodes, clearly until she found her friend's dead body. And I think that kind of culminated in this, like, the events of the last several days kind of hitting her all at once. So, she's worried about her family. She's worried about the town. She has this headache that has become debilitating for everyone else she knows. And I think she's kind of getting to the point of, like, what if I can't fight anymore? This is all somewhat tempered by the fact that she's in a cave with a bunch of strangers. And while she's very much inclined to, like, hey, let's hang out, I don't think she's as inclined to be like, hey, I'm having a crisis. Let's talk about it. And her method of dealing with that is twofold. She would either, I think, take it to her mother, who is not there, or to her friend, who is dead. And the other way, she's like, okay, cool. Well, then what can I do in the meantime? So I think while everyone's kind of sitting and recovering, she's like just pacing. If she had like a broom, she would probably try and sweep the beach, which is not helpful because it's sand. I think she'll be offering people like water, little snacks. I think it's 110% like, what can I do that isn't focus on the death of this person who was like a beacon in my life. Again, she doesn't say any of that. I think she's very much an action-oriented person. In sum. And I should probably make a perception check.
All right, and yep.
Fantastic. That is a 19 on the die. The 7, 26.
Wow.
Right? Yes. Assuming that this is her dead friend is not causing her to panic, which I guess we'll say isn't.
Well, with a 26, at one point, while Kara is pacing back and forth in that room, she catches something out of the corner of her eye down on one of the paths to the south, and it's just like the tiniest flicker of movement, and then it's gone. It just seems like there was something, and then there wasn't.
Yeah, I think she lean hard into that. She's not at all comfortable like sitting here in the dark waiting for something else to happen. She's like, there's something over there, I should go check it out. But is probably also cognizant that that frog thing took her pretty low.
How realistic would it be for Vargas, the character, when she says, hey, there's something over there, to immediately flash back to a certain conversation with the village elder and assume it's one of those chameleon people? Because that feels like that's probably what that is.
I don't know why you'd say something crazy like that. That just seems crazy.
I think what would actually happen is he'll look at her and say, what did you see? What was it exactly?
I don't know. It was just like a little bit of movement. It was barely even anything, but I can go check it out if you want, because of how, you almost got killed by that frog. Sorry, is that offensive?
No, we shouldn't split the party. We need to wait longer to see if these two will heal on their own, or if we need attention from clerics. Just keep an eye out. Make sure whatever it is doesn't get closer.
Out of character, Sam, about how long have we been inside the cave, or more importantly, since we've had water breathing cast on us?
At this point, you're probably like 45 minutes to an hour into the casting of water breathing. So, like, the 2 fights you had and the journey over took probably about a half hour. And you guys are sitting and waiting for your vision to clear in here. But the water breathing is a total of 6 hours, so you still got a while left.
Excellent.
Now, was that 6 total for each of us, or was it 6 split between us?
Those 6 for each of you. Yeah, he's got that extended meta magic. It's like the whole value of the town right there in that rod. Alright, so if you sort of are keeping an eye out, but still hanging out for the rest of the hour in the cold, sort of drippy cave, as about an hour passes, Brixby and Asher's vision starts to finally return. It's clouded and blurry at first, but with some blinking and some rubbing, sort of find your way back to being able to see the black and white of dark vision, or the little glow from the glowing bug leg that Vargas is holding. Just like that, you can see. Blindness wasn't permanent.
Yay.
Excellent. I was going to say probably at one time during the time while he was blind and freaking out, Brixby would probably turn in the general direction of Kira, provided that the alarm of seeing something had sort of subsided. Being nervous, hearing nothing but the silence of like the lapping waves and the pacing of his companions.
Kira, if you don't mind, tell me about Padagar. Please.
Why do you want to know about Parda?
Well, one of the worst things that can happen to a person is to be forgotten entirely. The things we remember, the things we say about them, it keeps them on, Just tell me anything. Doesn't matter. Favorite color, funny memory.
Her favorite color was purple, and it's mine too. It was one of the first things I asked her when we met. We grew up together. I don't know. You know how when you're a kid you bond over stupid things, and our stupid thing was she's also a half orc, and I followed her around all the time, waiting for her to notice me. And she did one day. She finally just got so fed up that she turned around and was like, "What do you want?" And I told her everything that I could about me, and I don't know, from then on she helped, I guess. You know how there are those things you can't tell your family because they're really personal or embarrassing, or your parents are a different species than you. I could tell her everything. I wish I'd been here, but well, I guess I'm here now, and I can find whoever did this. Oh, and a funny story. One time we were out hunting, and she tripped on a rock, and that's a lie. It was me. I lied. I'm sorry, but it was funny.
Brixby is, for the first time since having his vision stricken from him by the horrendous pink frog, smiling a little bit. This seems to calm him down a bit.
Thank you, Kira. I lost somebody in a cave, long time ago, and, you never really get over it.
And then he'll probably just sort of press his head back against the wall and keep holding his necklace.
Alright. You're all in this half-flooded room now. Been hanging out here for a while with the 2 dead bodies. There are 3 ways out. It's back the way you came. Flooded passage to the northwest, and then the way south where Kira saw the movement. There's also a little bit of a channel running down from above where water's coming in the north, but looks like that's too small to climb.
Once Asher's sight returns, he sort of waves his hands in front of his gray eyes, turns them around. He takes off his hat. He looks at the inside of it and he smiles. And he puts his hat back on. Well, that wasn't so bad for an hour. I mean, all things considered, we could, still be blind out would objectively be worse. We do, however, have a ticking clock, as it were, on water breathing. I mean, seriously, with all of the gadgets, I believe that the priest did set a clock of some sort. And I don't think he'll help us when the 6 hours is up, so we should get a move on.
I agree.
Brixby will just sort of shake it off, look a bit more composed, and draw his rapier back out
tighten his tail blade. Where did you see that movement?
It was that path down to the south there.
We'll have to go slow, careful. We've used up a lot of the healing we were given by the town already. And he kind of looks around, a little embarrassed. I don't seem to be able to do what I did with my arm again. I'm still getting used to this. I have some magic left, but I'm out of trump cards.
What do you mean? I was blinded instantly by that horrible pink frog. Did your arm do something?
It was so cool.
It's an ability. I can stretch it out, hit things further away, but he looks down. You can tell he tries to concentrate for a second. His tattoo might glow slightly, but nothing else happens. And then he looks at it again, and all of a sudden the hand lights up green. He goes, still figuring this out. I can do some things, but I can't do that again.
Well, shall we live to see tomorrow? I hope to see that, and to not be on the receiving end of your junk punch.
You've contributed far enough from what I heard inside this room versus,
As he looks over to that awful pink frog.
that, don't worry. I'm sure that you can handle yourself, and it's time that I, at least, contribute a bit in combat. So to the south, you said?
Uh-huh. Maybe I should go first.
Yeah, no, I'm just kind of dawdling here, hoping you'd suggest that.
Yeah, no problem. I'm gonna arrange myself right here at the mouth of that passage. Is it too early to make a perception check?
Sure, you can go ahead and make a perception check as you sort of stand at the end of this long, narrow hallway.
14 plus 7, 21.
Looks like you're just at the beginning of a much narrower cave than what you've been through so far. That leads south at about the same level, maybe a little bit higher than the flooded caves. There's no water here, but all along the walls there are chalk drawings depicting twisted and spiny plants. There's one particularly large drawing of a strange three-legged creature. It's hard to identify. It doesn't really look like anything you could recognize. Doesn't seem to be anything moving.
Will nonetheless draw her greatsword.
Looking down at the ground, since there's no water, Asher will look for tracks with a survival check here. Oh no, 4 on the Neapolitan dice, plus 4 for an 8. Any comically obvious tracks?
Doesn't look like there's anything fresh or obvious.
Would there be any sort of knowledge to try and figure out what's shown on those pictographs?
Exactly what I was going to ask, yeah.
It's hard to say. They're pretty crude pictures. You could try a knowledge local.
Well,
Toss a die at that.
my die may or may not have landed on top of all of my other dice.
It's a 15 for my knowledge local over here.
I got a 2 on the die with a -1 for a 1. Those are chalk drawings.
A 20 for the guy who used to live around here, so that sort of makes sense.
Well, the 21, with the 21, you can sort of recognize some of the spiny, twisted plants as things you would see just out in the wasteland. There's sort of some of the weird, unique to Numeria plant species, but the three-legged creature doesn't look familiar at all. And as you get further along in this tunnel, there are a few more chalk drawings of extremely emaciated people, but they have these weird oblong heads and 4 arms. There's several drawings of them.
Oh, yeah, those are. I know what those are called. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I almost played one of those.
What about recognizing those creatures? Is that another local, or is that something different?
Yeah, it'd be another local.
Alright. Don't mind if I do. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, that's a 1. Don't worry about it.
About an 11.
We got a 17 here for Bricks.
Yeah,
Nobody knows.
nobody knows. And these are weird things indeed. I mean, they don't look real. What kind of creature would have 4 arms? It's unreasonable.
So we've come to kind of a fork in the path here, and were I a more perceptive person, I might say this area to north right-ish seems perhaps less inviting than the place in the opposite direction. But also we could actually, I guess, perceive that.
Well, as you come into this area where there's a couple different ways to go, these scattered on the floor to both the northwest and southeast, you have collection of crates and boxes and rubble and like chunks of scavenged metal, like a bunch of Vargas's arms waiting to be built here, just thrown around on the ground, or all piled up like somebody's. It kind of looks like Garrett's scrap pile, or a couple Garrett scrap piles on a much smaller scale, like somebody's dragged a bunch of salvage over. Everybody can make perception checks on this area.
Ooh, yeah. Bricks has a 24.
Natural 15 for a 15.
A 12 for Vargas.
Total 13 for Kira, so Brixby it is.
Well, Brixby's the one with the experience in this particular department, and as he's sort of sifting through the piles, finds a bunch of little discs that look a lot like his necklace, actually. A series of 7 silver discs scattered amongst the rubble.
Interesting. I've seen these before, not up close. I think they're called silver discs. Does someone want to hold on to these?
I can take them. What do they do?
I've only heard of people exchanging them. That's it. Never given one. Never really seen one. Just last time I was sailing, I just heard it mentioned in the port for a dice game.
Well, I can apparently carry another 206 pounds, so sure.
Yeah, silver discs are kind of negligible weight. They're like the size of a watch battery.
I'm just saying, if we had literally 1 million, Kira's good.
Is it a watch battery? Can we check it for the little plus and minus?
There's no little plus and minus on it. Unfortunately, they don't make it that easy. So you find yourselves at a crossroads here. There are 3 different ways to go, 4 if you count doubling back the way you came. I think you can kind of see from where you're standing that the path to the northwest kind of just stops after about 20 feet. It's just that pile, but there are ways to go to the southeast or southwest.
I'm interested in the southeast first.
Why?
That is what you said. There was debris scattered from the northwest to the southeast initially.
Yeah.
You mentioned. Yeah. Bricks would be interested in following the debris. He's got that kind of bloodhound look on his face after seeing all of this assorted junk on the ground. And you see almost a complete reversal of the apprehension and fear that he was experiencing in the last room. And he's stoked. He's in his element. He's rolling around in garbage.
Southeast works for me.
Sounds good.
Sure.
All right. Climbing over some crates and rubble to get yourselves into or through this little passageway. You find yourselves in a vast chamber with a ceiling that rises nearly 30 feet overhead, so even taller than the other room. There's a 5-foot wide ledge running along the western wall where you're standing, which slopes down to a cave floor 10 feet below. There are 4 ramshackle huts in this room, right near where you're coming in, made of what appear to be strips of metal, hides, some sort of fibrous plant matter, look like sort of hastily, poorly constructed items. And for those of you who can see it, on the south end of the room, there is a dark pit floor that yawns, and you can't see the bottom from here.
That poor pit looks tired. I can see it yawning from here. We best not wake it from its slumber.
Be hungry.
Kira, I may have wandered forward a bit and forgotten myself. I see tents up here and I'm a bit concerned.
I will check it out. I feel like she's going to be immediately drawn to that looks an awful lot like a dead body. Couple of them.
Well, as you step out into the open in this room, those things that look a bit like dead bodies. Let's give you a closer look on the screen here.
It's never good when he says, let's take a closer look at this thing.
It's never let's take a look. I'm going to shove this into your face.
Yeah, just once I'd like you to pop up a big pile of, oh God.
It's not a pink frog monster. What you see standing in this room are three gaunt, hairless people who are barely wearing any clothing at all, holding knives, sort of stepping towards you as you come out into the room. There's a total of three of them that you can see, and one of them, who happens to be right by Kara, addresses you in a whispering voice. You speak.
Yes? Uh-huh. Yes. Do you?
Good. We speak. We will. We will speak with you. Half your number to our leader. The rest will wait here.
Oh, they just said we should, like, not split the party. So we're probably going to stay together. But everyone's super nice.
We'll take half your number to our leader, and half will stay here. Or we could kill you now.
That's like really, really bold. Can we talk about it?
We will wait.
Like immediately turn around and be like, so this seems not ideal.
Can we roll a knowledge on these things?
Yeah, that would be a knowledge local. And they are totally just hanging out, like, right around you at talk. They didn't back off at all.
17 total.
Yep, that's a 17 from Brix as well.
24 from Vargas.
These are skulks. These are probably the Darklands dwelling humanoids that were mentioned by Dolga during your briefing. They are camouflaged in dark places and have some capacity to have a chameleon-like quality to their skin. And you guys can ask 2 questions about them.
Well, I asked my skulk question the last time I passed a thing on them back in the office. So I will defer to the 217 rolls if either of them can think of something they want to ask about them.
Do they have a general alignment?
Generally speaking, they tend towards the chaotic evil end of the spectrum.
I don't remember the player. I'm sure Asher totally remembers, but which question did you ask, Jiro? I can't remember if it was special attacks or special defenses.
It was if they had any sort of defenses or weaknesses, and he said they didn't have much of either other than the camouflage.
Cool. I was 60% sure at best. Any special attacks, he'll ask then.
Generally speaking, being sneaky individuals, they might have the capacity to sneak attack.
Could we also roll a sense motive on that initial offer to bring half of the party to their leader, knowing what we know now about their inclination towards chaos and evil?
Yeah, sure.
21.
Can't find my bonus, but it definitely beats mine.
It beats my 19.
Excellent time for a nat 1.
Well, I know one thing. If it's chaotic and it's evil, it's trustworthy.
Well, they do appear to intend to take half your party to talk to their leader.
So Kira, not quite whispering, but doing her best to be like, it doesn't seem like they're lying, but I don't think we should split up. Dolga said they were like, I don't know, kind of scared of people. Maybe I can make them let us all come.
The mention of making them let you come, their hands do drift to the swords on their belts.
Well, how far away is your leader?
She waits in the next room. It's not far, not far.
What happens to the other 2 of us if we stay?
You wait. If there's no trouble from you, there will be no trouble from us.
Why are you bringing us to your leader in the first place? We're just, traveling down here and, happened upon you. Who's to say that we need to make a whole social affair out of this?
Our leader wishes to talk to any who intrude on our territory.
Have, others intruded down here recently?
That is a question for our leader, not for me.
Can we tell, or is there something I can roll to see if their little tiny dagger guys match the wounds we saw in Parda?
You could roll a heal check.
Dirty 20.
Oof. It definitely looks similar. Parda had a whole bunch of small stab wounds, and these guys have short swords and daggers on them.
Okay. So Kira will see that and say, look, I appreciate this little democracy you've got going, but it's been kind of a long day, and my sword is way bigger than yours. My friends are going to come with me to see your leader, or we're going to have a problem. And I would also like to roll an intimidate check.
Go for it.
Oh, that was not great.
Is there a way could Vargas stand up behind her and kind of look menacing and try to give her a bonus?
You could roll to aid.
Please do.
No. It is a 5 out of a needed 10, so I do not aid.
Yeah, I rolled a 4 plus 7, but that's still an 11.
Yeah, an 11's not going to do it.
Okay.
And so they creep still closer to you, and they say that the deal is simple. Half of your number come, speak to our leader now, or we kill all of you. This decision should not be difficult.
Okay, I guess I'll go. Kira will volunteer herself. I don't know if that makes the most sense strategically.
Brixby looks up at Asher. I think one of us should go with him. I've seen you have a way with words. I do too sometimes.
Yes, well, I would certainly hope things can be resolved peacefully, but should anything go awry in tight spaces, I believe you'd be the better choice, strategically. So, perhaps you and Kira should go and have a nice and agreeable chat with these fine folks as leader, and Vargas and I will stay here and be patient.
Absolutely, and, knowing you, I'm sure that if something was wrong, I'd hear it. He looks at his hip quickly, turns back to Kira. Well, big stuff. Guess you're with me.
Asher will look to Vargas and say, he's very confident in his hearing.
All right. Creepy bald people, let's go talk to your friend.
The one that had been doing the sort of talking will beckon for you to follow after her. The other two will stay back and hands on the swords watching Asher and Vargas.
Vargas will be watching this one to the north back, just keeping an eye on him, making sure he can't try to blend into the scenery.
And the skulk leading the way takes an abrupt left around the turn and heads into a cave to the north, leading you into a small and cramped cave, which is filled with metal junk covering almost every inch of the ground. At the back of the cave is a precarious pile rising heap-like into a bit of a hut, and perched in front of that hut is another one of these skulks. She's emaciated, has even more daggers than the rest of them, bone-thin, completely bald, and staring out at you from her perch on top of a pile of junk. And the skulk who led you in sort of steps off to the side to let you step towards her. And, what have we here?
Hello.
Hi, I'm Kira. This is my friend Brixby. You summoned us, so maybe you talk first.
I am Seth. I am the leader of these people. I do not wish to kill you. There has been far too much killing here of late, but I can offer you a deal. You can have free passage through my caves into the ruins beyond if you leave my people unharmed and you clear out the nest of gremlins to the north. Is this agreeable to you?
Can we sense motive?
I would sense that motive.
Go for it.
If there is a motive to sense. That is it's a 16.
No, sure can't. That's a 7 total.
With a 16, it seems like she's being forthright. If anything, there seems to be a sort of bit of desperation in her voice that she's kind of trying to conceal, but she does seem to be making you a genuine offer.
Brixby turns to Kira and doesn't try to conceal that he's whispering.
My people, no one close to me, but my people have had dealing with their people before. They have upheld bargains. Not everyone is to be trusted, just like all humans.
He looks quickly at the skulk and then back to Kira.
But it seems the deal, and I would agree. So far, we've already seen more death in this cave than we intended.
Yeah, I think Kira just kind of stares at him for a little bit and then sort of thinks about it and then nods. I think one of them, or probably a lot of them, hurt my friend. But if she were here, she would say it doesn't make sense to keep hurting other people to fix that. I don't want to risk one of you guys going the same way. One of you guys going the same way because I was upset.
You deserve answers. We are considering your offer, but on a basis of trust. We'd like a question or two answered to begin a relationship, a working relationship. You feel me?
She sort of frowns, but holds a hand out with her palm up, like she's signaling you to go ahead.
We found the body of a half-orc warrior just north of these caverns and to the east. She was covered in small stab wounds.
He looks pointedly at daggers.
Now, I know there are plenty of dangers under here, but I think my friend here would like to know, did you have anything to do with her death?
She takes a moment and kind of measures her words carefully, looking down at the ground in front of her, and says, I do not know who specifically struck the blow, but I do not deny that my people have killed several of the people who came into these caves. There was a half-orc among them. I do not apologize for this. This is my territory. We were protecting our place here and fulfilling an agreement that we have with another.
Which other?
There was the first group to come through here. The largest one. There were orcs. There were people like you. Rat people. And there was a woman with purple hair. She paid us the treasure, told us to kill any who come through behind them. And there would be more treasure, and they would leave my tribe alive. We made the agreement, or the leader before me did. Things have gone poorly since then for us and for a great many people. But when we killed that half-orc, we were honoring that agreement.
Brixby will look up at Kira, just waiting for a response.
When did you make this agreement?
It was some 2 weeks ago.
Are these people still down here? The ones you made the agreement, you said to not let anyone follow them.
We haven't seen them come back.
Does that mean...
They went up through the caves to the north, where the Gremlins nest, and they have not returned.
I don't think Brixby would feel comfortable providing like a decent physical description of Connor, but he would look again to Kira and say,
I'm not quite sure what Connor looks like. You ask. I hope he's had better luck than Potter.
The half-orc woman that someone killed. She didn't come down here alone. Who was she with? Was she with a description that Sam will provide of Connor?
She shakes her head and says, she was amongst the second group to come through. They were completely unprepared. We dispensed with them easily. The man you describe, he was much more formidable. He slew our clan's former leader. Most of our numbers, honestly. Left us here licking our wounds. When he came through a second time, we hid and let him pass.
Did he head in the same direction? North, towards the Gremlin caves?
No, he went through there, and she points back towards the southeast, back into the big room.
Brix will turn again to Kira.
Well, unless we're looking to follow suit, it seems like we got to make a deal.
I would love to leave you with a parting gift that maybe indicates something of the person that you took from me, but it sounds like there's been plenty of loss here already, so I will let you sit with that, and we can call this a deal. I'm not happy with it, but I guess no one really wins here.
She nods slowly. She says, clear out the gremlins from the north, as I said, and we will not impede you in any way. We can offer you some portion of the treasure that the woman with the purple hair gave us as recompense for your loss.
Sure, thank you. You love treasure.
Yeah, I'm quite sure you can find all sorts of ways to be helpful to us after we're helpful to you. So, these gremlins, are they?
And he points to, in this cavern that they're in, to the east, and sees the caverns go north from there.
This way to the north? Or do we backtrack from where we first found your people?
These passages are all interconnected. They'll all take you to the same places.
Well, if you'll allow us the company of our companions, I'm quite sure Kira doesn't want to stretch out this interaction longer than it needs to be.
Yeah, you suck. Respectfully.
It's a surface thing. It's a very neutral statement to say.
I see. You suck as well. She waves away the skulk at the back, who will head over to the other ones. An accord has been reached. You are free to rejoin your companions. And she'll step out of the way so you guys can get by.
Asher will finish his story that he was telling Vargas and say, and I never did figure out how those two goats got in the tree, but we ate like kings that night.
Oh, if it weren't for that horse, never would have spent that year in Rahadum.
Anyway, looks like we can rejoin the others.
Also, Vargas cannot see very far. Which direction were the others in?
Northwest. There you go. As you come into that room, the emaciated skulk sitting atop the pile of junk will say, hello, you suck.
Ah, yes. You suck too.
I thank you.
Yeah, this northern passage. She also mentioned that she needs us to handle a nest of gremlins. Do any of you know anything about gremlins? I don't. I lack knowledge nature.
What is a gremlin?
You're not supposed to feed them after a certain time.
We turn back to the skulk.
Yeah, we ask Seth, could you describe their damage resistance, if they have any, as well as any special attacks?
They're tiny, pesky creatures. They steal when you least expect it and sneak all around, climb into your space and harass you, but they're very difficult to harm.
We're pretty good at harming things.
Well, let's not draw this happy meeting out longer than it needs to be.
Looks grimly back towards Kira, who is out of the room.
Bye.
As we're moving out, Vargas is going to walk up to Kieran Brixby. We only have about 4.5 hours left on this water breathing. And you two are picking up side quests.
From what I've understood, the reason why Kira's friend lays dead, Metal Man, is because of these wall-blending, knife-wielding nightmares. One creature nearly took all of us out. We don't know how many there are. Their permission to move down here is crucial. We can always get more magic, but there's only one of you, Junk Punch.
He's gonna just kind of glare at Brixby, but he's not gonna say anything because he realizes that he's right.
Alright. Yeah, as you head out of her lair, sort of to the right, you find yourselves into a series of narrow, interconnected caves. If you want to roll a perception check, figure out which way to go.
Would survival fit in here at all?
Ooh. That's a
Wow.
natural 20 plus 7.
It looks like, for the most part, the activity is up to the north, not really to the east here. And the south takes you back down into that big room where you first encountered the skulks.
So Kira will turn around to everyone except Brixby, who's gone on ahead. And as she's turning, Kingsley, her scorpion, will like crawl out from under her hair and just kind of settle on top of her head and be like, Kingsley says we should go this way. She's just going to brush past Brixby here and be like, it's no offense, you're just so small.
Okay, as you step into that square, let me just see what I roll here. As you brush through a tripwire,
Okay.
and a spike comes shooting out of the wall. Does 22 hit your flat-footed AC?
It absolutely does.
A spring-loaded spike shoots out of the wall and hits you for 7 damage.
Ooh. Kira looks immediately very, very bad.
And to the north, something laughs uproariously.
Oh, perhaps I should go first. This sort of trickery, traps, snares, I'm familiar.
Brixby will say,
It's just 'cause you're so big, as he
pushes by her
Yeah.
back to the front.
Can we see that? That's just a skulk, right? This up to our like west.
That appears to be the source of the laughter.
Got it. If it's not immediately attacking us, we should maybe heal. I have 1 hit point.
Yeah, it's just sitting there laughing.
Oh, they really are gremlins.
There we go.
That was uncalled for.
It's a little
Alright.
gray. Yeah, it's a tiny gray little goblinoid creature, or goblin-looking creature with a tiny little knife and a terrifying toothy grin.
Yeah.
Sitting on the ground, laughing its head off at the spike that impaled Kara, and seemingly without a care in the world.
Awesome. I'm gonna kill it.
Yeah, heal up so we can give it a care.
The thing that's most terrifying too is Jason Bowman's copyright lawyers.
Love you, Jason.
Cool. Yeah. Is it like, are we in initiative?
I think this is probably a good time to roll for initiative.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Who wants to go first to tell me when they're going?
That's a 12 for Kira.
Alright, 12 for Kira. Brixby, what do you got?
I rolled a 12 for a 15.
Alright, and Vargas, how are you?
Rolled a 17 for a 19.
Vargas is feeling quick today. And how about Asher?
Rolled a 10, first roll of the night on the portal dice from Cozy Gamer Shop. That was only a natural 10 for a total of a 14.
Alright, well, Vargas is up first. You got a laughing gremlin a little ways to the north of you.
How narrow is this? Would it be just normal movement to squeeze past my allies or no?
Yeah, these are all sort of normal width squares, despite looking a little bit.
Okay. So he's going to look at that thing. He's going to go, don't laugh at us. And he's going to step right up to it and take a swing. Not going to hit, more likely than not. That is an 11.
Alright, that will not hit its flat-footed AC. The gremlin just laughs its head off as you fail to strike it. And Brixby is up.
Brixby, who's had his rapier and tailblade out, will say,
Well, we've heard that you can enter into people's spaces, but have you heard about me?
and he takes a step to the northwest, entering into Vargas's space. Mechanically, this is the Scurrying Swarmer feat, which allows me to occupy the same space as my ally, getting the benefits of flanking for myself. So with that 5-foot step, he's going to take a full attack, first with the rapier. That is a 12 versus flat-footed.
12 does not hit flat-footed.
All right, and then he will take a attack with the tailblade. This is a -1. Ooh, that is not going to hit. That'll be an 11.
Right, small and ineffectual, hopefully just like you.
Alright, and he's still laughing his head off as we roll over to Asher.
And Asher looks and sees that he can barely even get into that space. He will move 5, 10, 15, 20 feet to the northwest, 25, 30. So there is a little spot there for Kira, so we can all try and, dogpile on this little gremlin. And in melee range, since he's going before this creature, he's gonna say, "Cover your ears," and he will fire point blank at this gremlin with the portal dice. No, that is a 4 on the die for not enough.
And we're on to Kara as this little thing keeps dancing out of the way of seemingly everybody.
Sure. As much as she would like to go and attack, I would like her to not die. At least not in episode 3. So I think she's going to take out the potion that they stole off that corpse and drink it. That's a 3 plus 1. That's 4. That's fine. We'll take it. 5 HP. Doing great.
Very nice. Now this little gremlin is going to say, and it's going to jump into the same square as Vargas and Brixby, so you both get attacks of opportunity on it.
Ooh, yes. Nope. That's a 2 on the die.
For Vargas, it is a 16 on the die, so a 19.
19 will hit.
Yay.
Much better than my 8 last time. It's plus 2 because I don't got any magic going. So that will be 5 points of damage.
Alright, and as you punch this little creature for 5 points of damage, it's like punching this weird little rock. It's like it didn't do anything at all. And it just keeps laughing and laughing. And now that it's in your space, it's going to try to stab you. So that is going to be a 15.
Against Vargas, that is a hit.
Alright, that is a massive 1 damage with the short sword. So it just kind of stabs you with its tiny, tiny little weapon and goes right back to laughing.
Make 3 fortitude saves. 1 for paralysis. Oh, no.
No fort save. No, that comes later. Alright, and Vargas, you are up. You are in the most crowded square in the history of Pathfinder right now.
We're like a Matryoshka doll of just...
He is going to sort of concentrate, close his eyes. You can tell he's annoyed by this thing poking at him. And he is going to use up a point from his arcane pool to make his golem fist hit a little harder. So that will give me +1 to attack and damage. So let's see if that can possibly get through whatever DR or hardness or whatever it is this little bastard's got on him. So that is a 19 to hit.
19 will hit.
And that is 3. That is going to be 5 damage again. So I imagine that once again does not go through.
Yeah, once more, it's, you hit it, you feel like you landed a good blow, and it totally no-sells it. It's sandbagging you, bouncing all around in your square.
Because I had to activate that this turn, that is his turn.
All right, Brixby, you're up.
All right. Brix is going to take another attempt at a full attack in his incredibly full square. I somehow have been rolling less and less and have hit the bottom, so it's a nat 1 with the rapier. So I can only go up from here, everyone. Tailblade. -1 modifier. That would be a 16. 17 on the die.
16 will not hit.
Oof. Rough. Yeah, Brix is just struggling.
Yeah, this thing is a slippery little bugger. Alright, and we're back around to Asher.
Asher will grab a bullet off his bandolier and chamber a new round and take a 5-foot step back. I think I can kind of wedge myself, and that is his entire turn.
Alright, and Kira is up.
Okay, let's see. Kira is pretty upset because this thing is laughing at her, and she also just got caught by that trap, which was like super embarrassing in front of her new friends. Okay, so I think this works. Please correct me if I'm wrong. She's going to drop her greatsword and draw her Lucerne hammer. None of you know this yet, but its name is Lucy, and it's bedazzled with ribbons and glitter. Mainly in purple and pink because, again, branding is important. That'll give her the extra reach. And having seen all her friends try and fail to hit this thing, mostly, seen a friend die, she's come in here, she's very tired, she's kind of hurt. She's pissed. She is going to rage. Let's see, that is 12 plus 7, 19 to hit.
19 will hit.
5 on the die plus 9 for 14.
Alright, it doesn't feel like all of it goes through, but it does feel like the gremlin's head still gets squished by the end of Lucy, the Lucerne hammer, and the goblin falls to the ground in the crowded square.
If she were a different type of person, she might, flip it off, but she's not, so instead she's just going to be yes, and end her turn.
Okay, and after your turn ends, you do see another gremlin, step down into the cave, wave to all of you, laugh uproariously, and then disappear in a poof of purple energy. Alright, it is Vargas's turn.
Vargas is going to go after that so that he doesn't waste this minute of enhancement bonus he's got. So 5, 10, 15. And he is actually going to stop off to about 15 feet to the northeast and use his action to make a perception and see if he can figure out which direction that thing might be in.
Okay.
So that is going to be an 11.
With an 11, it could go either way. It's hard to say which way it went because it didn't exactly leave a trail.
Then he is going to ready an action to just punch out if it shows up in his square before his next turn.
Okay. And Brixby, you are up.
All right. Brixby will take 15-foot diagonal step following Vargas into his square and ready this a similar. If something comes into striking range that I can see, I will hit it with my rapier.
Okay. And Asher is up.
And Asher will follow his compatriots heading southeast first. He will, though, as a free action as he passes Kira, say, "Now that was a good smash." And then he will continue 15, 20, 25, now heading up to the north. And he'll actually park it 5 foot north here. And as something appears, if another gremlin appears within 25 feet in his touch increment, he will shoot.
Okay. Well, as Asher steps into that square, he feels a wire snap under his leg. And does a 23 hit?
Yeah. I wish I could come up with a witty way to say no, but it totally does.
Yeah, a hidden spike shoots out of the wall and digs deep into Asher's shoulder for 9 damage.
Oh dear, that is indeed deep into his shoulder.
Man, this party could use a rogue.
It's fine. There's surely a finite number of traps,
North was a bad choice. Boy howdy.
but I'm afraid you're gonna have to find out after I go to bed. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Sam.
Night, Sam.
Good night, Sam.
Night, Sam.
Pod against the machine. Against the machine.
Pod Against the Machine is property of its creators, all rights reserved. Pathfinder and the Iron Gods Adventure Path are properties of Paizo Publishing. Please visit them at paizo.com for more information. Theme Against the Machine, written and performed by our own Zach. Please consult the show notes for additional music and sound effect licensing information. Alright, we'll call that episode 1, or 3, as it were. Yeah, I think of him as like the Honeycrisp bear, like from the cereal.
What is he? Is that like a beaver?
They occupy the same space in my head.
Oh, it's a bear. Yeah. Yeah, now that I'm looking at it bigger, I think it is a bear.
This is guerrilla warfare, or gremlin warfare, or whatever. Hopefully there aren't gorillas here.